Welcome, everyone. I'm Amy Seeley, president of Seeley Test Pros and Leap, helping students to succeed in all kinds of tests from eighth grade to grad school throughout Ohio.
And I'm Mike Bergen, president of Chariot Learning, helping students with test school and life based out of Rochester, New York.
Between the two of us today, we have over 60 years of experience at the highest levels of the test preparation and supplemental education industries.
We both love to talk and learn about the latest issues in education, testing, and admissions. So let's get down to tests and the rest. The fascinating topic we want to explore today is ourselves. Welcome to another episode of EXTEMP with Amy and Mike.
Thank you, Mike. It's so lovely to be here.
To be here as opposed to wherever else you were globetrotting this month, right?
Right. It's I was snowy day in Cleveland, right? I mean, it's overcast, gray, cold, flakes of snow, which means it's definitely spring.
I know this has been a wild spring. We have definitely lurched back and forth. We had a day last week where it was incredibly warm. It was practically 70 degrees. I think we hit a record a couple of weeks earlier for like the warmest, but then the same night that it was nearly 70 degrees, it snowed.
Yeah, I mean, it's not Cleveland for me if it isn't like 75 one day and like 20 degrees the next, right? This
That's
time of
life
year.
along the Great Lakes, isn't it?
For sure, for sure. Now, I wish I could, well, I don't wish I could say, I will say I had a lot of 75
Yeah.
to 80 degrees in my
Nobody
recent
feels
past.
bad for you, Amy. If anybody wants to feel bad for me because I haven't been to a tropical island in the last month or two.
I've actually been to two tropical places, right?
I know. So where did you go?
Amy,
Where did you
Amy,
just get back from,
so
Amy?
Amy literally just got back from Cancun. Now, what's really funny about this for me is I've never been to Mexico. So this was
Mhm.
my first Mexican adventure with Haley, my daughter Haley. And now what's
We've
funny is
had Haley
obviously
Seeley on the
Haley
show
Seeley,
several times.
test prep extraordinaire, Haley Seeley. And obviously I was in Aruba last month, which is funny, on the Caribbean Sea, you know? And so then, of course, I like thinking that I know a lot about geography, and then I realize how sometimes I don't. So I was like on a map going, okay, Cancun. I'm like, what is this? Because they called the room an ocean view. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what ocean are we looking at? And then I'm like, no, it's really the Caribbean Sea.
Yeah, but that's
But
part of the Atlantic Ocean. I mean,
well,
it is
yes.
part of the ocean.
Okay, so that's probably partially too trying to understand a sea versus an ocean. However, it just meant that I got to be on two very different parts of the Caribbean Sea, kind
Sure.
of a month apart. And you know, as spoiled as I am, I will say the beauty of the water. I
Hmm.
think I counted like 6 degrees of blue and
Yeah.
green
Yeah.
that I've never witnessed before. And it was just, I was in awe of this color. Now, the first couple days were admittedly a little overcast.
Hmm.
But those last couple days, and the sargasso, by the way, the seaweed
Yeah.
is really bad apparently this winter in
Interesting.
Cancun. And I saw it, like the beaches are covered with it, and the water had it in it. But then by the last 2 days, it had really cleared. And, that's the beauty of a resort, right? Because you get the pool, so you can kind of go back and forth if the beach isn't great. But the beauty there, I was shocked though, Mike, that I did not see as many birds. I think I counted only 4 different kind of birds I saw, but I loved watching the birds just fly over the ocean and try to dive down to obviously catch fish. That was really cool.
It's an interesting thing about the coast of the Caribbean
Mhm.
is that it's not like if you go to the Atlantic coast or the Pacific coast in the US, you're going to see tons of gulls. You're going
Mm,
to see all kinds of birds flying around.
mhm,
And it's not really, there aren't a lot of gulls down there at all. So you
mhm.
see, like you saw the magnificent frigate birds and
Right.
you might see some terns. If you go out in the water a bit, then you can get into some birds. But for the most part, the shoreline is surprisingly sparse.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was kind of like, oh, no, we don't really have, much here to see. So that
But
was
if
sort
you
of,
got in, I mean, the Yucatan Peninsula is so biodiverse. It's got tremendous. So, like speaking about geography, right? So you were in Cancun, which is in on the Yucatan Peninsula at
mhm,
the very tip, and Mexico, Belize, and Guatemala all
mm,
kind of are part of that. And it's a really distinctive ecosystem, really
Yeah.
special. So like if you'd gotten inland, you would have seen more birds than you knew what to do with.
So unfortunately, Mike, because it was an all-inclusive resort, which I've never done,
You never left.
never stepped
Never left
foot
the
out. I
resort.
know it,
Ah, you
it,
missed
it,
out.
I know, but honestly, we'll be back again because I did buy into a vacation club, Mike. So, so
You did?
I did.
You are insane. So what happened, if I can imagine, is that they offered you something free to sit for their
Of
presentation,
course, as
and
they
you
do.
said, I will spend 45 minutes listening to your presentation, but I cannot be sold something I do not want. So of course I will be immune to your blandishments.
Of
Uh,
course, I thought that.
but they made a good pitch.
Well, to be fair, I've sat in a few of these before and I've never purchased something. So I had a perception of cost and things like that from before. And they lured me for sure with like, I'm getting four free trips of nights was part of it.
Mhm.
And those
Mhm.
parts, two of them are in either Mexico or um, the DR, but other
Mhm.
two of them can be in US or Europe. So actually, and the Hilton system's a part of it. So I was like, oh, so my penchant for travel. I was
Yes.
like, and it was the guy's first day
Oh,
selling.
really?
And he dropped that price and made it so sweet a deal that by the end, I was like, I don't think I'm really paying for this because of what you're giving me for free. So, of course,
Really?
the
Well,
idea of
then,
coming
I
back,
mean, it sounds
the
like
idea
you
of coming
sold
back
yourself.
with family and my kids and stuff, I was like, okay, so I will be back to Mexico or the DR. It's probably sometime in the next year. But it'll also afford me some opportunities to go some other cities. So I'm excited about that. Yeah. So
I'm
Amy's
excited
travel
for you.
never ends, Mike, never ends. So while I was obviously in my travels, tell us a little bit about on your end. I know that you had a big project, I think that started in January, if I'm not mistaken, that
Hmm.
was recently completed, like shockingly to me, on time. Tell us about your
Quickly.
project.
Yeah. So, one of the reasons that I haven't been traveling is because
You made a different investment.
we chose to divert all of our discretionary spending into finally getting our kitchen done. And just to set the stage or, paint the picture of what we're talking about, we moved into this home here in Rochester in 2008. We bought it from its original owners. It was
Mhm.
a 1950s house.
Yeah.
So it
Do they call
is
that
a
mid-century
fantastic
modern or what's the name? Like, what's the name for that? Like,
colonial.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So it's a fantastic house, really well built. Like
Hmm.
everything has held up. It was
Hmm.
the owners took care of it really well, but it needed updating. It
Hmm.
totally needed
As it
updating. But the thing
as
is that
houses do.
yeah, and so we put money into the bathrooms. That was the first
Sure.
thing. It was, the pink and seafoam green tile and
I'm familiar
commodes
with
and
those.
yeah. Oh, there was a lot that needed to be done. And then our contractor moved, and you know how hard it is to find a good contractor.
That's why I couldn't believe that you accomplished this task so quickly and
So it took
efficiently.
forever. It took forever to find a good contractor. And one of my friends, who's also been on the podcast, he had just worked with somebody who's a neighbor of his, and he said, you know what, this guy's good. So we were really excited to bring him in, get on his calendar, and what you're saying is amazing. He came in exactly on budget, exactly on the day, pretty much that he said he was going to. I mean, like
He
everything
showed up when he
moved.
said he would. He did what he said he
He
would. He
he and his
charged.
team were so
That's
amazing.
that is a miracle
Yeah,
anymore in
if you're
terms
in the
of
Rochester area, Nick DeRisio, you can't
shout
go
out
wrong.
there.
Like he delivered. Uh,
That's awesome.
so like I'm already ready to give him more.
Yeah. And
I
it
showed
looks
him some other
beautiful.
things.
Like it does. But I mean, like it's
Thank
amazing
you.
because when you said that first day they were doing the demo, like, yep, they're tearing it down
Well,
right
we did a
now.
lot, right? We took out every single cabinet. We took down a wall.
Hmm.
So, we had
It was
like
a
the
real
kitchen and the
reno.
dining room were set off by a wall, and we opened it up, and it just makes everything feel so different now.
Yeah.
But I gotta admit, it's way too nice a kitchen for me. I've never lived in
It
anything
feels
this
too
lovely.
bougie for you.
It feels a little too bougie for me.
What's the
I don't
boot?
see myself in it. I have very humble
What's the
A
bougiest
very humble
thing
perspective
about,
of myself.
well, what's the bougiest thing about the new kitchen from your perspective?
From my perspective, it's that we got these stone countertops. Now, honestly, you can pay a lot more for countertops, but we got this natural stone dolomite. So I think that it was actually surprisingly inexpensive,
Hmm.
but it looks so good. This natural
It looks
stone,
nice.
so good. I can't even stand it.
Hmm.
It's just amazing.
When
It
you
just,
walk in there now, do you feel like you've been like transported to another place?
I mean, I'm getting used to it already. The hedonic treadmill never stops moving. But then, what happens is you do one room and then you have to do everything that touches it.
Well,
So,
especially when you knock on a wall,
so
right? For
now, right
sure.
now, I'm looking like, oh, these floors need to be done. We put our art up, and so now it feels like our place. Like
Okay.
before, it didn't really feel like our place, but then we put art up, and it's starting to feel good.
That's
So
if
yeah,
I
so
s-
yeah,
if I
that's
still had a
exciting.
house, I'd be so supremely jealous because
Yeah.
that was the project that when I sold the house, I was like I knew I needed to do something just like what you did, but I was like I don't think I'm
That was really it.
prepared
It
for
was
that.
like either move, like we
Right.
would either have had to move because what I wanted was a kitchen like so many people have where there's an island or a peninsula, which is kind of the social center, so that when you're cooking, there's a place for people to hang out and chat with you.
Right.
Now
Well,
we
the
have that. We
kids,
didn't have
now when
that
you have the whole
before.
family together once Ivy gets back, now you have this whole new place
Yeah.
to convene, right?
Well, my brother and his family are visiting
Oh,
in a couple of weeks, so
oh,
like
so
we'll
there you
start
go.
to get that rolling.
There you
But
go.
now, we've uh, the house is actually a little emptier because my son just moved into an apartment.
Oh, so
You know,
you're back to
that
being
was the
empty
plan
nesters
all along.
again.
He moved back just to get ready, and he moved to an apartment in downtown Rochester. I saw it last night for the first time. It's really nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
That's
so being a
wonderful.
chef, he's been saving his money. He's like, this is what I want,
Oh,
and
good
he's
for
got
him.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, it's good to see them when they fly the coop and you know, they're making their own choices, right?
that's exactly right.
And they're
Yeah.
not on your dime.
Well, I mean,
It's
are
one of
they
the
ever
best
that
parts.
entirely, Amy?
Um, Luckily for me, like, yeah, my children, I mean, I really feel like the three oldest, I still have one obviously in college, but the three oldest, man, it was like there was no conversations. They knew what they had to do. And I feel very lucky because some parents don't have that same experience, right?
That's absolutely true.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, we've decided, right, Mike, that we're always going to try to include kind of a fun Mike or Amy sort of interesting fact or information. So we're
Mhm.
going to do this for this month where we came up with when you were young, what did you want to be? Like, what did you imagine for
So
yourself?
I think I know the answer for you. I don't
Oh,
know
you
that you
do?
know the answer for me.
Oh,
Yeah. Didn't
that's interesting
didn't
then.
you
Maybe
want
we
to
should
be
predict what we
Okay, wait.
think.
Okay. Didn't you want to be a history teacher?
Not when I was younger, Mike.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so I'm talking about
How
Amy,
young are we
high
talking
school. I'm
about?
talking high school
High
Amy.
school.
That was
Yeah.
not what she thought. That is
What did
not what
high
she
school
thought.
Amy want to do?
High school Amy actually, well, she wanted to go to DC for college. She was probably going to study political science. And honestly, she thought someday she would either go into like law or politics. But I love history. Obviously, I love history and
Yes.
government. And so that's really what I imagined. So when I graduated from high school, the two colleges I was choosing between were
Hmm.
Kenyon College and American University. And obviously, American
Oh,
University,
wow.
I mean, that was,
Imagine.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
what your
so
life would have been like if you had gone to
do
American,
you
which
think
would have
about
been a
that?
great
Because
place.
that
I could
path,
totally have seen that path for
right?
you.
That
When
path,
you thought when you thought politics, Amy, did you think that you wanted to be a politician or you wanted to cover politics or you wanted to contribute to another politician's staff?
I mean, Mike, I'm going to be fully honest, just full disclosure here. I think I had this very naive, sort of beautiful thing thinking, I'm going to be the first woman president.
Okay.
Like,
I
I mean, I
mean,
really, like in your mind, you kind of do these funny little, like, and I remember being like,
yeah.
now, as a mature adult now, I cannot
Uh-huh.
imagine the overwhelming responsibility that one would have for knowledge, for others' welfare. So, to be fair, the world may or may not be a better place without Amy Seeley as president. But I think it's funny how going to DC I would have gotten way more into that sort of thinking in life. And when I went to Kenyon, I was choosing between being a poli sci major and history. I ended up being a history major. And then, of course, that led to sort of, you know, then the path of teaching education, which is why I left Kenyon to go to John Carroll, because at Kenyon you couldn't get an education degree. And so that's where the
Right.
path then veered towards something that I think was more pragmatic of like, oh, if you're going to be a history major, be a history teacher. And that's kind of when I got on the path of
Right.
education.
Because
Yeah,
you're either a history teacher or an historian.
a historian, which I love. I mean, I love history, which is partially why I love to travel. Now, here's what I want to think about right now for you. So with what
Wait,
I
wait.
know,
Can I just
yeah.
make a point?
Uh-huh.
It's not too late to be the first woman president.
No, and
The
actually,
path is clear, and
the
I
path
could.
is clear. I still have an option. No, I will tell you, when I went to DC to lobby for small business in October, and I was
Uh-huh.
in Capitol Hill, and I walked onto an elevator by myself, there was this brief moment where I thought to myself, you know, girl, someday you could come back here and you actually could be an elected official. It
You
crossed my
could.
mind. So I do have some thoughts
You'd
about
have my vote.
running for a school board or something like that could be my start. But who knows? I mean, you know us. We're like ideas and projects, but I did sort of have that little twinge on Capitol Hill
That'd be
back in
wild.
October.
That'd be
Yeah.
wild. It would cut
You could
into
be like, I
your
knew her
international
when
travel, though.
I
Yeah,
think
right.
back when I was younger, I thought, oh God, if you run for president, there's too much they'll dig up on you. Now I realize they can dig up anything and it really doesn't matter. We're living in a world where one's past
Nothing
does not
matters anymore.
preclude
Nothing
running
matters
for
anymore.
office.
We would need a much bigger a megaphone, like the Test and the Rest podcast. We'd have to get onto TV or something like that in
Yeah,
order
Mike,
to really
actually,
fuel your political
actually,
ambitions.
this is where Amy's campaign will begin. This is where I'll make the announcement. Like you'll be the first to know. You'll be the
Okay,
first.
that's good. That's good.
Now let's turn our attention to something you love to talk about. Let's talk about you. Okay. So I want to think about Mike Bergen in high school. So I'm thinking if I were to predict,
Uh-huh.
and I know obviously a little bit about you in the past, but I'm going to think, did you think you wanted to be like a therapist?
I wanted to be a
I knew
psychologist.
that. So that's what I
Yeah,
was
I wanted to be a
wondering.
psychologist, but I wanted to do a mix of therapy and research.
Okay. So a
I did. I
combination.
I really wanted to be a clinical psychologist. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to study. I didn't have a clear vision, but I thought that was a good path for me.
What was an intriguing thing of research that you might have pursued had you pursued that path?
It's interesting because back then I remember I actually applied to clinical psych
That's what I was going to
programs
ask you. Yeah.
and I thought it would be interesting at that time. Like virtual reality was just a dream.
Uh-huh.
And
Just
I
a,
wanted to get into like studying the psychology of that,
oh.
like the psychology behind it.
Well, that would have been a really early sort of thinking about what that
It
would
was a little
become.
too early, I think. It was a
Right.
little too early, but I thought that that would be really interesting. And it's interesting because as I explored the options, I didn't really know. I didn't get good counseling, and I certainly didn't do good research on what psychology entailed, right? I imagined that you really could, as a clinical psychologist, do a blend of a private practice where you have client contact, but then also research. But then it turned out that it was really more research based. And
Mm-hmm.
now, like, the more I learned about psychology,
Mm-hmm.
the more I realized it wasn't the path for me. But what happened was that was the path that I went down. And
Yeah.
after I graduated with a psychology degree, I didn't know what I was going to do with it. It's one of the less useful degrees.
Well, I think no, I think back in I'm sure it hasn't changed a ton. I'd like to think it was, but I think back in our day, this idea of going to college. I mean, I thought of it like, what am I interested in? I'm interested in history. I'm interested in government, not calculating, when you do the math on that, where does that put you at the end of like your 4 years?
Totally.
And I
Totally.
think back in our day, we naively were able to sort of kind of indulge ourselves in that in a way that I think today's students hopefully are trying to be much more conscientious because it's way more costly to go to college and ending up, with certain degrees. And what does that what does that tally up for you to be?
Yeah.
Now, you and I both know that obviously studying and learning, and like, for example, in your case, what you're doing as far as working with students involves some like you involves psychology, or
Sure.
what I'm doing, obviously education, teaching. Like, so we're still kind of touched back to that in a way, but it is a different world. Here's one question. So if you were to go to college today, Mike, what might you study? What would you might have done differently? I'm curious about that.
You mean if I did it all
Yeah, so
over?
let's just say with everything you know right now, you are about to graduate from high school.
Uh-huh.
What do you think now you would study? I'm curious.
That's a good question because, I'm happy the way everything turned out.
Hmm.
There's nothing I wish I had done instead.
Sure.
So, I mean, really, if I think about what my favorite classes
Hmm.
were not my psychology classes. My favorite classes were my anthropology classes
Oh, I only took
and
one of those.
international
Yeah.
studies. I loved that.
Uh,
So I would have done more of that, I think. And I would have done more to put myself in a position where kind of my years outside of college, like my early years, if I wasn't going to find test prep, because I think now, looking back on it and seeing the way it works for people today, you can launch a test prep business while
mhm.
you're in college.
Oh God,
And
we
and
see
and
that
if
now.
I
We
had
see that
known
all the
that,
time,
oh,
right?
everything would have been much better. But if I was going to do things like travel more or explore my love of nature
Hmm.
and ecotourism, I would go into that, like something like
That
that.
makes
But
total sense for you.
yeah,
Yeah, when you just said that, I was like, that totally, it fits with putting all like the parts of things that your
yeah,
interests. Um, well, it's only funny to me when we first met, I was in awe of your travel and the birding. I remember literally feeling like, wow, this guy's going everywhere, seeing everything. I was so like, I just thought that was super cool. So now,
thank you. I mean, I was in awe of myself at that time.
well,
It
good,
just
good.
how amazing it is, and so like it's a really good example of how if you're clear about what you like and what you want to do, and you make yourself part of that system, you choose to add value to it, good things happen. And
Yeah.
that was, what I learned, what I applied in education and test prep. I learned in birding and ecotourism, where
Hmm.
by creating a site where I could be part of the media and I could help promote
Hmm.
everything that was going on around the world, I was invited to partake in it, which was
Yeah.
very exciting.
Not unlike a little bit what we've done with test prep. I mean, kind of
A
like
lot
create
like
create a
that.
create a universe. Yeah,
It's
no,
a
it's kind
path,
of
right? And
yeah.
and it's a clear path, and it's the kind of thing I recommend to everybody. Like,
Hmm.
I told my son was very into MMA. And I was like, dude, if you're into it, start a podcast, right? If you start a podcast or you start a channel, you do something and you get enough of an audience, then you'll be invited to the same events that you pay to go.
Sure.
And you could get to meet the people that you want to learn from. You could contribute to the culture instead of just being a participant in it.
It's funny because I didn't ever, I mean, I think you had more vision with the podcast than I did, but as you describe it, right, it's sort of it's what leaders do. It's demonstrating leadership,
Yes.
right? Kind of your and I think that's I've said that to other people too. Interest, start a podcast. It's so easy and it's also it gives you so many opportunities because if you're pursuing something with it that you're interested in, it's more of a labor of love than necessarily like what the end goal is with it, which is what we probably experienced for
That's
sure.
exactly the part, right?
Yeah.
You do it out of sincere interest
Hmm.
and vision. So, as you know, I lead the NTPA Leadership Development Group,
Hmm.
and a presentation that I give every year is leadership through community building.
Right.
And I
Absolutely.
use the example of how this podcast spawned the Test Prep Tribe, and it led to our first conference, and that led to the NTPA, and all of these things as steps in a process that is replicable.
Right.
People do it all the time. They start with something small but sincere, something authentic,
Well, I was going to say
and
we talk so much about authenticity in the college admissions process. And I think that's what I'd like to think about us is how authentically interested and like motivated we've been. And so the work of all this has never felt hard. Like it's never felt like work. It's just felt like fun.
it's something that
Um,
we like to do. Yeah.
something like to do for sure, for sure.
And back during my early days when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I didn't really have a sense of what I wanted. Like there was no authenticity in my endeavors.
No, I think, well, I know for sure for me for high school, it was just chasing all the stuff you were supposed to put on your college apps, like for sure,
Totally.
I
Yeah.
mean, that was 100% what I was trying to do, which actually for our students today, that doesn't change very much, right? You're still, but what you're hoping sometime, I think, in that pursuit of all those things on your college application is it's somewhere it sparks something authentic that sort of lights that fire. So all of that work eventually something sort of takes its own form or shape, and then hopefully you're mature and educated enough to be able to kind of like run with it, right?
That's the truth of it. So, Amy, what do you have coming up this week or this month?
This month, so this next month, Amy will be in the Grand Canyon. So
Oh
it's going to
man,
feel a little weird not traveling with my Weston Adventurers Club, including you and Scott and Claire, but I will be going with my mom, who
that's
has never
so
been,
awesome.
she's never been west of the Mississippi, and then my 11-year-old. So we're going to be going out to Phoenix and driving up and staying in the Grand Canyon, which I'm super excited about. So that'll be an interesting trip to
I'm
share.
super excited for you. You're going to be blown away by the beauty of the Grand Canyon. I want to warn you, it'll be chilly.
Yes.
It'll
I'm
be chilly there. You're not camping, are you?
We're staying in a
I
lodge.
know, that's
We're in a
funny.
lodge. Yeah, Mike, I think, Mike, if I'm ever going to camp, I'm going to need like people who know more about camping. My mom
Yeah.
and this is a trip where I have to do all the planning. So this is
Yeah,
different.
right.
Some trips
Yeah.
I let others plan the trip. This is an Amy plan. So it's like she's not, overly ambitious in what she can do
Okay. Speaking of
with an
ambition,
80-year-old and
yeah.
11-year-old.
So you're not planning on walking into the canyon.
I don't know yet, Mike. I'm still doing the research on
If
that.
I were to do that with an 80-year-old and an 11-year-old, I would just plan like a very short walk down. Keep in mind that a canyon is a trap because it's easy to walk down.
But then you got to
It's
get back.
hard to walk up, especially because
You've
the air
witnessed
is
me
thin.
trying to walk up. I know
I'm
my limits, Mike.
suggesting that you might not want to go too far into the canyon.
But I will say, my fitness since our last travels is
Yeah,
I'm so much better.
I'm not.
I
I'm thinking of
appreciate,
your mother,
that
not yeah.
insight. Yeah,
I'm thinking of your mother.
I'm Googling like or chat GPTing what are good hikes and what are good things with the, 11-year-old, 80-year-old so that I can understand, like
Yeah,
put in perspective what's like realistic. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, but it's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
You're gonna
I'm
love
really
it. It's really
excited.
gonna establish for you. Like it's just a further extension of exploring the American West.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I'm excited for you. And you may see California condors.
Well, I'm expecting some more birds. So there'll be more
Yes,
bird photos to follow, Mike.
I'm ready. So this week I am finishing off my last high school presentation of the year. So
Mm.
I've been like work speaking at so many high schools, which I love to do, and speaking to parents and students. And so that's the end of this. I've been doing a big marketing campaign, which launches this
Oh,
week. I'm
that's
excited about
exciting.
that. Gearing up for, April is just getting ready for May is going to be really busy.
Hmm. We're
Uh,
in that lull. There's a little bit of the lull test prep that's right now that
It's not
I
a
think,
lull for me.
yeah, no, right
I'm
now it's a little
swamped
bit of a
with
lull.
students, tutor training,
Yes. Yeah.
everything that we're doing. I'm really busy this month.
Yeah.
Just like everything's very busy. Once we get into, closer to the AP exams,
Yeah.
then I can take a little bit of a break. But I've got a trip to Europe
I know in
in
May.
May
Exciting.
and a trip to Baltimore in May
I
and
know.
a trip to Chicago in June.
Hmm.
So there's like a lot that needs to happen in the next month. And also, I've been ordering all my gardening. I'm going to be
It's
ordering
right.
new gardening stuff for the year. I'm going to try to grow some more things. Try to grow some strawberries. I got a strawberry tower.
Oh,
I mean, it's easy to grow strawberries, but I
yeah.
like have a vision
But you're
for how
adding,
I
right.
want to
You're
do
right.
it with abundance. And maybe grow some potatoes in a bag. There are these things called potato bags. Seems easy enough. Just getting ready for what is one of the most fun parts of the year.
What's going to be exciting is to following the gardening journey over the next few months of what is Mike doing in his garden right now. That's what we'll be following.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you find that interesting. I don't think a lot of people will find that interesting, but
Yeah.
I've
Well.
got plans. I've got
Hmm.
because now this is just the setup, getting everything ready, and
Hmm.
then, in a month I start thinking about planting, but then
Yep.
it's still like our frost-free day isn't really until the beginning of May.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I have trees coming in April that I got to pick up. So yeah, this is going to be fun.
And it's your birthday month next month.
It sure is. There's lots of celebrations, lots of family birthdays, lots of friend birthdays, a lot going on.
Awesome.
I mean, I think we could talk about ourselves all day, Amy. Unfortunately, we're out of time.
It's always a pleasure, Mike.
Amy, the pleasure, as always, is mine.
Awesome. We hope you enjoyed this discussion as much as we did. Be sure to join us for another fascinating topic and guest on the next Tests and the Rest.
Did you enjoy this episode as much as we did? Find expanded links and more for this and all of our episodes at our show page at testsandtherest.com. While you're there, be sure to explore everything the larger TestBright site has to offer, including real, expert, unbiased answers to the toughest admissions testing questions. Of course, we'd love for you to rate, review, and subscribe to Tests and the Rest on your favorite podcast platform. If there's a topic or guest you'd like us to feature, just let us know and spread the word.